Welcome to Austin, Texas. This 3.42-mile road course has only been around since 2012, but has quickly become a fan favorite to all. With its unique characteristics such as the long front straightaway going uphill and into a tight turn one, then working down through the S's, finding another long back straightaway, and then rounding the carousel with a giant observation deck for all to see, the Circuit of the Americas. Hi, and welcome all to race number 10 of the Area Elite Entertainment Cup Series powered by Butt Kicker. I'm Mario Sleppy, and joining me, as always, in the booth is executive producer Harold Darner. How's it going, Harold?
I'm doing pretty good. You know, we actually have the area blimp out there that's got a perfect shot of the map. Well, actually, it's the track.
Yeah, it's an absolutely perfect shot of the track, the map, whatever you want to call it. It's perfect. You can see the entirety of the Circuit of the Americas, the track that NASCAR has gone to as recent as last year, 2021. But this track has been around for literally a decade, and F1 has been here, IndyCar, even the supercars in Australia, they've been here as well. But now NASCAR is making its trip around Austin, Texas. Now, last year, it was a bit of a rainy day for Cup Series. The racing wasn't too good. So they came back. We'll give it another chance, a second shot. And boy, did it deliver with Ross Chastain picking up his first win in such a crazy finish. I mean, there's
Right here.
so many different, right there. There are so many passing zones around this track. I don't even know where to start. I guess we'll start going uphill through turn one because this is quite a long racetrack. As mentioned, 3.42 miles, and this is the highest elevation point that they'll be going. Picture yourself being on a roller coaster, and you're going up the roller coaster. That is basically what these guys are doing, going down the front stretch and uphill into turn one. Very tight turn one. And Harold mentioned in the pre-race before we went live, he's seen people go 4 wide, 5 wide through this tight turn one.
Well, it's got, like, we go back to our aerial shot. You see how wide the corner is. So this is the preferred line right here. And then I've seen guys take this thing all the way through the black here and then back into turn number, going down the hill to turn number 2. But it's interesting you say roller coaster. They actually have built a roller coaster here. That won't be open until next year, but it's the track. It's what they call it, a swing track. So basically, the roller coaster ends, and then the track does a 90-degree drop, connects to the track below it, and lets you go.
So. That sounds absurd. It sounds insane.
But it's fitting for the track, right? I mean, this is an insane track. We talked about it before the broadcast about passing zones, and like I said, I only have expertise in here in the Dallara 18, and pretty much this section here is the only no zone, as like you don't really want to pass people. But everywhere else, like the hairpin, braking, and getting around a guy here, high speed backstretch. That's going to be muscle on your car. Who got off the corner better. And then heavy braking here at the end, which we saw during practice, guys coming off into the kid leader right there. And then
that's going to be a trouble spot for most people.
And then all through here is braking zones to get you around the guy in front of you. And then right here, you could be like Ross Chastain that did the dinger and say just.
He actually did that at the corner before, like coming out of the corner, right there. Yep.
I thought that's where Dinger got Ross, and then Ross got him back here, but I could be wrong.
No, it was a little bit. Ross got at the beginning of the carousel, and then at the end, he shoved AJ to the side
and just finished.
Guys, he got his first Cup win.
Yep.
And his teammate just got his first Cup win
Suarez,
yesterday on the road course.
Yep.
Daniel Suarez, the first Mexican-born driver to win in the NASCAR Cup Series. So we might be seeing a first-time winner this week. We saw one last week with David Weishart winning at Charlotte. He won his first race of the Cup Series in an absolutely dominating fashion, led about 115 of the 140 laps. And we got a little highlight clip for you just in case you missed out on the action last week. So the pace car is going to come off turn 4, make the hard left turn on the pit road. Alan Balancino, Garrett Grant on the front row, leading the field to the green flag here. And we're underway from Charlotte Motor Speedway. And Rafe Slate, he wrecked he nearly wrecked right there. He just went through the grass. Daniel Miglin got into the wall right next to him. I was just going to say, they're making contact through the turns. So a wild ride here as we're talking about. Rafe Slate was going to say he wrecked on lap 1 at Gateway. Caution's actually out.
Yeah, I think that's what the caution was, and we'll go back and check it out.
I was going to say a wild scene there for the 12 of Rafe Slate running in the 3rd spot. So we're going to put a little pause on the rundown here for the moment. Oh, contact! That was Nick Johnson spinning around in the middle of 1 and 2, and the caution's going to come out. Shane Wolf just hit the outside wall hard in turn 2. So we'll take a look at that. Yep, something to look forward to as... we got contact in the back. That's Ryan Swan into the outside wall.
Yeah, pretty
Caution's
heavy.
going to come out once again here. Lap number 8530, yellow of the night. Back there, I couldn't tell if that was 64 sideways or if I was just seeing things, but they were all over the place. And now they're into the wall. Right up here, Jacob Bell back in front of the field. James Scioli, Jordan Martin collected. Well, they weren't sideways behind, but they were sideways in front. Man, so that's the 4th yellow of the race. Weishart works his way through 3 and 4 for the final time. And he'll come off turn 4. No Dale Jr. fiasco here. David Weishart wins at Charlotte. The fuel lasted to the very end. And the 33 car as victory number 1 on the season. That was just a quick little recap. Cautions after caution after we crossed the halfway point, but for the end, we had about a 40-lap dash to the finish, and David Weishart was able to drive away from Jake Nichols. Very rare to see that happen. My opinion, I thought Jake was just holding back because he held back on his tires throughout the season, and I was just waiting for that to happen again, but really just couldn't quite get up to the 33 of Weishart.
Yeah, so we're definitely gonna have to that. We got about a minute, so here we can go over the points as they currently are.
Yep. So this is the point standings after Charlotte. So this is heading into COTA. So Jake Nichols, David Weishart has now locked himself in the playoffs along with Brad Slaughter, Ed Robertson, and Ryan Hartz. Slaughter is in the top 20. Ryan Hartz is, I believe, on the cutoff of dropping outside the top 20, and he is currently in the session. He missed the last race or two, so he needs to get himself a solid streak here because we've only got COTA, Nashville, and then the cutoff race at Talladega before we start our 5-race playoffs. So all 5 of those guys are locked in with a win. Cameron Hearn is the highest without a win in points, plus 35. Then we got Tom DeLeo, James Scioli, Tyler Nichols, Garrett Heath, Ryan Swan, and Alan Balancino. Only 2 points to the good over Nick Johnston. Dwayne Culberson, 3 points out. Paul Urban, 15 out. And Michael Large, 16 points out. Boy, we got a lot to talk about here with points. So Ryan Hartz is sitting barely inside the top 20. Now, in order to make the playoffs, you need a win to get in. That's the obvious part. So if you have that, you have to stay inside the top 20 in points. Now, Brad Slaughter has moved himself into the top 20 in points. That's why he's officially locked in for the moment. And Ryan Hartz is still inside the top 20 in points, but he's sitting at that 20th point position. So he's going to have a solid streak here to stay inside the top 20. And let's look over here. Ryan Swan's only 9 points to the good. He is not a fan of this road course. So that is something we'll have to keep an eye on. Balancino's had a solid couple of weeks. He's moved himself inside the top 12. Nick Johnston, a lot of people are saying that he might be the one to watch for COTA. And he's sitting only 2 points outside of the cutoff. Dwayne Culberson, only 3 points outside the cutoff. So it's really tight around that cutoff bubble between Swan, Balancino, Johnston, and Culberson over there in the playoff picture. So a lot to look at before we head into the next points look for the team standings. So this is the championship standings for the team. Solar Flare Racing currently sitting at 663, top of the 8 teams in the point standings there. David Weishart moving into second at 609. Fazikis Motorsports, solid run last week from Balancino and Dom DeLeo, maxing out on their points there. 597 sitting in third. Jacob Bell Racing, 589. Tied with Infinite Gaming at 589. Then we got Elite Entertainment, Transcendent Motorsports, and Elwood Design Esports. Sitting there fifth, or actually sixth, seventh, and eighth. There is no fifth because fourth is tied between JBR and Infinite. And over in the chat, it just dropped the question for the contest. Which team will win tonight's Elite Entertainment Cup Series race? So you can bet anywhere from the options on the screen right now. But in the chat, you'll have to type it out, such as Solar, Transcendent, Infinite, Fazikis, Elwood, JBR, DWR, Elite, or if you don't think that any one of those teams can win and that an open car might win, select non-team. And we see Harold has already made his choice. Solar Flare Racing is his pick as the team to win tonight's cup race.
Yes. Yes.
Is there a specific driver that you're looking at? I know everyone's looking at Jake Nichols, but Tyler Nichols had a solid top 10 last week. Dwayne Culberson slowly creeping towards that playoff spot. So a couple key drivers to look out for Solar Flare as qualifying has begun, and we're looking at lap times of around 220. Well, no, 210. I was right, 210, maybe 213, 212, somewhere in that range. Jake Nichols had the fastest lap at around a 210, and we have no track record for this track because this is the first race ever in area history that we're running at COTA.
I basically have the camera set up on the final 2 corners right now. Is it coming out of the carousel and into the final corner and then up the hill? We're waiting for guys to get around here. They are doing single car, double lap qualifying here. So he said 2 minutes, 10 seconds, whatever to get around. They got to get that pace lap in before they even start, and then they got 2 full laps to do, and they only have 10 minutes to get this done. So everybody's out on the track except for Martin Okrezik, Caps, Dixon, and the Nichols. Both Nichols brothers have not come here. Here we go. First contender, and we said that wide around that corner.
Car that is, I think that might be
it's number 45. It is Seidenfeiden.
It is indeed Chris Seidenfeiden coming around and going through the COTA racetrack.
So Chris Seidenfeiden is going to be the first one to start turning an actual lap.
Okay, let's in the car with Chris and see what it feels like in a cup car to go around COTA. So he's working his way around the S's right now. Working his way through turn 6, now up to turn 7. And you can see right there what gear he's shifting into. A lot of shifting going on at COTA. Got to go all the way down from first gear, maybe even to 5th gear.
And coming out of that hairpin just before the long backstretch.
Yeah, that might be the slowest corner around the track. He's at 39 miles an hour, and this is where we'll see the top speed right here on this long back straightaway.
Definitely red lighting a lot that racetrack. So the usual Ryan Hart's to the top, Cameron Harden, and now James Scioli.
As Chris is now working his way through, this is called the stadium section. Not a lot of names for these turns at COTA. This is one of the few stadium section, and now he's working his way through the carousel. So this is coming into turn 16. So Scioli is at the top with a 211.913. We'll see what the 45 assigned fine puts up as he's working his way through turn 19. And then he'll be coming around turn 20 and going to come across the start-finish line and see where his lap time ranks amongst those that put down a lap.
No, actually not. I think he might actually start over.
So the 45 takes a spin, and that lap will not count, but we'll see if the 7 of Skyoli can top the lap that he put down. He put down a 2:11.913. That is still quickest. Less than 4 minutes to go here in qualifying, so we'll see if he can best that time, because there's always room for someone to knock off the king. So he's working his way around the carousel section, and last week's winner, David Weishart, sitting second at a 2:12.469. Fans, make sure you put your bets in the chat. It's exclamation point bet, and then the team names that are listed in the chat, or non-team, and however many channel points you want, anywhere from, I believe it's 5 points to 400 points.
Yeah, up to 400. Skyoli just bested himself, 2:11.512.
In the Happy Hour podcast, I made my pick for Nick Johnston to win. And I believe Jake made his pick on James Skyoli. So Jake has put his pick down for DWR at 120 channel points.
Interesting how he went from 7 to 120. Was it 7 times 10? Was it, I don't know. I was trying to say 7 times 10. That still don't get that. Oh. Well, 7 times 20 would be 140. So yeah, I'm still trying to figure that out.
We'll about figure out in a moment here where the 91 car of Jake Nichols ranks for his qualifying lap, and he will be second. So it looks like it's a 2:11.570, and that's lap number 1, I believe, for the number 91 of Jake Nichols, as he spins, actually, coming out of turn 1, and looks like he's just going to roll it to a stop there.
He says, I'll take the outside pull. We'll be all right with that. But you see the cherry red of the disc brakes coming up that corner.
I would say anything it's a better starting spot than last week at Charlotte.
See here, kind of show this on here as he comes up the corner. He's coming up the hill, and then it starts with that car under braking. And look how red, man, they're like on fire. I mean, you can, was it DW said you can do some s'mores with that thing. They cook an egg as well.
You thought we were at a short track with the way the brakes are, and that's something we're going to be seeing all race long.
Mm-hmm. And he just gets into it a little bit early, and then as we see,
just loses it coming through turn 1, that tight turn 1. Going to be a trouble spot here for the start and the restart. So should point this out, since we're at a road course, there will be only one caution. So think of it like stage racing, how we see in real life NASCAR. We'll be seeing it here for just the road courses. So at the completion of lap 8, pit road will be closed, and at the completion of lap 10, the caution will come out, and that will basically mean it's a stage caution. So there's no yellows for incident. There will only be one caution, and that is at the completion of lap 10. So on the leaderboard, what you'll be seeing is as soon as it hits lap 9, pit road will be closed, and then once it hits lap 11, we'll see the caution come out. And that'll be our only caution for the race, so we'll have the initial start and the restart. And we're going to have your lineup for the start of tonight's COTA 150K here at COTA. So on the pole, it's going to be the 7 of James Skyoli. And on his outside, going to be Jake Nichols in the 91. Row 2, last week's winner, David Weishart. And starting alongside him, many pick him to be the favorite for tonight's race, Nick Johnston. going to be starting fourth in row number 2. Row 3, Alan Ballacchino looking to continue that hot streak going. And Cameron Hearn right next to him in row 3. Rafe Slade has put together some solid finishes over the last 2 races. He'll be starting in row 4 alongside the number 22 of Dom DeLeo. And in row 5, it's going to be Garrett Heath and Justin Wilson, starting 9th and 10th.
And then we got in the 11th spot in row 6 is Garrett Grant. Outside him is Brad Slaughter. Shane Wolf is being shown. Actually, how did I get this all? All right. My Skyman score looks different than what it looks here. That's why I've kind of messed up here. So I'll go with this. So Shane Wolf and Schwann will be in row number 8. Row 9 is Perkins and Okresic. And then Robertson and TK Nichols.
And then in row number 11, it's going to be Chris Seidenfein in the 45 with Mark Patterson in the 51. Row 12 going to be Jacob Bell and Brian Dixon. And then row 13, after a solid run at Charlotte last week from Adam Capps in the Lodgebox Series, it's going to be starting in row 13 with Jordan Martin. Now, Jacob Bell once said, well, not once said, he did say that he wasn't going to qualify and that he was just going to take this race as practice for tomorrow night's truck race, the CNC Logging Truck Series. That'll be taking COTA as well. So that is the reason for the 77 opting not to qualify, and that was your 26 car count for tonight's race. And the pace car will roll off as it's at the halfway point of the racetrack, so they're not going to be doing a full pace lap around COTA just yet. So fans, make sure you pick your team to win tonight's race. Go ahead and roll back here because the polls will close at some point and you want to get your bets in. It's exclamation point bet in the team names as listed: Solar, Transcendent, Infinite, Physicus, Elwood, JBR, DWR, Elite, or if you think an open car is going to win, simply put non-team, all one word, and you can risk anywhere from 5 channel points to 400 channel points. We got a lot of camera shots here at this large 3.42 mile road course. Oh, and looks like that was Travis Mechner that is trying to put down a bet, but did not type it right.
Uh-oh.
Exclamation point bet, the team name, and then the channel points. There you go. Oh, he's got it. All right. So we're looking at the fuel run here to be around 22 laps. So fuel won't even be a factor because we'll have that competition yellow at lap 10. But here we go. The pace car has pulled into pit road, and here we go down the long front straightaway. James Scioli on the front row with Jake Nichols, and they're leading the field to the green flag here, and we're underway from COTA. Scioli goes a bit wide, and we're going to see the 33 of David Weishart take the lead.
There's somebody coming. Connor Okresic starting from the pit lane as you see him coming up the hill off the pit lane.
Not sure what the reason is there, and it looks like the 7 has actually gone back around the 33 of Weishart. Johnson has moved up to second. Saw a good bit of wheel hop there from the 7. Looked like he might have gone a bit wide, but Harold, you did mention that you have seen some cars go wide through that first turn and kind of propels them down into the second turn.
Yep, turn number, you get the, as long as you have anything under control, you're talking about they're like 30 miles per hour, so being a little bit deep there is not really going to change that much, but you can get that nice run off and nobody's in that area. Look, we got the first car off there.
Balancino. Yep. Balancino went a bit wide there as they were coming out of turn 11 and down this long back straightaway. That's going to lead them into turn 12. Now this is going to be a crucial braking zone as we see the first and second place cars have driven away from third on back. That is Rafe Slate right in the back, looking to go underneath the 33 of Weishart. Actually, it'll be underneath the 91 of Jake Nichols as they continue to battle, and we see the field work their way through turn 12. So they're now working their way around the stadium section portion of the racetrack, and now we see Scioli coming out of turn 15 and now going to lead into the carousel with Nick Johnston about 7 car lengths behind the number 7. Through the Ross Chastain punting turn, aka turn 19, and then down into turn number 20. 20 turns, 3.42 miles. It's 164 miles, but I messed up typing, so it's at 150K for emphasis. Scioli leads lap number 1, but Nick Johnston is continuing to close in on the bumper of the 7. And here's the in-car view from last week's winner in the Cup Series. David Weishart, as mentioned, led 115 of the 140 laps. Starting to regain ground and starting to work his way through the S's here as he's running in the 3rd spot.
It's a very tricky section here. You want to put the throttle down, but as soon as you do, the next corner comes up, then you'll end up blowing the entry. So you hear the guys throttling in and out, in and out, in and out until they get out of the final corner. This S's down this small short chute kink and then into the first hairpin.
And up front, it looks like Nick Johnston might have made a little mistake through the S's there. And now, looks like 33 might have gotten a little bump there from the 91 of Jake Nichols, as saw in the rear view mirror. Now they work their way down the long backstretch. Now that is a turn that we just went through, turn 12. That is a turn where we could see a good bit of Louisiana dive bombs because of the deep braking zone that these cars have to go through.
Interesting seeing these guys high rev numbers in low gears 1 and 2.
Yep, each driver trying to figure out a different way around the track. Whether it's high RPMs, low gears, or high gears, low RPMs, it could be the key to success, could be the key to victory. Nick Johnston has lost nearly 1 second off the leader, James Scioli, this time by. Weishart slowly closing in the gap on second place Nick Johnston. He was about 3.3 seconds back last time by. This time, 2.8. And this time by Rafe Slate running in the 5th spot, fastest lap of the race.
Dominic Leo just unseated it.
Well, Dom DeLeo now holds the fastest lap of the race.
Back in the 8th
Leo
spot.
running in the 8th spot, indeed. And up in front, his teammate Balancino is door-to-door with Rafe Slate. Looks like he's got the 6th position. Yep, clears it right there, and car in front of him, the Skull Bandit number 67, Cameron Hearn, running in the 5th spot. He was also one that is highly talked of dominating the road course. There is the 12 of Rafe Slate. We mentioned during the starting grid that he has posted some pretty good finishes over the last couple of weeks and is trying to secure himself into a playoff spot. He's currently the last car in, +2 to the good right now. So he's looking to keep this momentum rolling as we race here at COTA, then go to Nashville next week, and then a wild card for the regular season finale at Talladega. So lots to look forward to in the next couple of weeks, but right now we focus in on COTA. And here comes the 12 of Rafe Slate with a Louisiana dive bomb to the inside. He's going to miss the corner. Mentioned it 1 lap ago, and 1 lap later, it's come through. Prophecy of the Louisiana dive bomb, and Rafe Slate just getting a little bit too much there going through turn 12, and now he's going to try and hold on to 7th there with Dom DeLeo right behind, as we saw a little bit of tire smoke there. Some cars locking up, and might have been from the 70 of Balancino. Looking through, the gap is 1.2 seconds and climbing. Well, now it's diminishing. between Scioli and Johnston. David Weishart still 2.8 back from the leader. Jake Nichols still running in the 4th spot. Put up the fastest time of the day there. Got into the 2:11s. And it looks
now,
like the pole is closed. Oh,
yep.
go on.
I was gonna say also just to be aware, the official fastest lap is a clean lap. So Scioli, Johnston, Weishart, Hearn, Ballacino, Slaughter, Shane Wolf, Wilson, Swan, Bell, Martin, Perkins, Nichols, Robertson, and Cap have not put a clean lap in, so there is no fast lap for them. So Jake Nichols the fastest with a clean lap in the 4th spot.
Yeah, good bit of drivers going off the track. Obviously, some of these guys, I don't know if anyone's hit the wall yet, but some of these guys have not hit the wall. But going off track, it will take away that clean lap, as Harold just mentioned. And those are a lot of drivers who have yet to put down a clean lap. We're on lap 4, and some of these guys might not have a clean lap still.
Well, I don't think there's no issue. I mean, they get an extra bonus point if they have 0 incidents, but I'm sure with this track, they're just using every bit of it as they can, and that's what we're getting into here. Here at COTA. And they're using all bit of it, and then iRacing has boundaries laid out on the racetrack. They won't penalize them. There are areas, just like any IMSA series, that if they cut the track too much, they'll be told that they have to give up speed, and it'll be big bold letters across their windshield. Be like, you have to slow down, or you'll get a black flag. So fine line between the two, but the guys will use as much of the track as they can without doing that.
A good example of that is what we just saw there through turn 19, because in real life, NASCAR will see those cars run as wide as they can, but it's different on iRacing. You run a little bit too wide there, and it's going to give you a 1X, and it will not count that as a clean lap.
Yeah, a lot of drivers getting 1Xs and off tracks and stuff all over the place. I'm getting notifications all over the place. The only person with a clean actual race thus far, Garrett Heath, 0 incidents so far. But as high as Ryan Swan with 17.
Our way through here, trying to see if there's a close battle. I was saying let's go back to 5th around Cameron Hearn. Cameron Hearn got about an 8-car length gap over Alan Ballacino. They're 5th and 6th on your screen right there, and then right behind those two, Rafe Slate and Dom DeLeo. And going a little further back here is the 31 of James Shanewolf. Now, this is a guy that Jake said is one to watch for the CNC Logging Truck Series tomorrow night. He and Travis Beckner, both these guys are running in tomorrow night's truck race. They were ones to watch out for and to beat at Watkins Glen from season 1. So Jake thinks that Shane Wolf will be a factor for Tuesday night. Doesn't mean he can still be a factor for tonight's race. Him and the 14 of O'Kresick battling for the 14th spot. And Shane Wolf going really wide, nearly spinning out there from the transition into the grass. So he will hold on to it and hang into 15th for the moment. But that is the pick from the Jacob Bell, the 31 of James Shane Wolf, to keep an eye on for tomorrow night's truck race. And my pick for the Lodge Box Series is Travis Beckner. So not for the trucks, but for the Lodge Box Series. So keep an eye on those two for tomorrow night, and keep an eye on Beckner for Thursday night. And we'll go up front here with Connor O'Kresick and Justin Wilson currently battling for the 13th spot. 58 and the 14. Going to go door to door there, tight through turn 15. Then they're going to make their way through the carousel. That's about as close as they can go without going off track and getting a 1X through that turn 19.
Right. We're gonna try to reload our system here again. We had that same issue where we're not getting any information on our followed is what they call a follow when I'm on a particular car. So give me 1 second and reset this.
Meanwhile, you can continue to look at 12th, 13th, and 14th over there, just in front of Connor O'Kresick. There's the 81 of Dwayne Culberson. Culberson is close to making the playoffs, still trying to make up some ground and have a solid finish to work himself inside the top 12 in points. And he's having a solid run at the 12th spot so far. O'Kresick is nearing in on that back bumper of the 81. Oh, we got a nice run through there through turn number 9. He's going to be down there in turn 10, complete the pass on the 81. That's something we saw the Cup cars do, as Justin Wilson going in for a pass attempt to the inside through turn 11, and he'll have the spot, or he'll have the edge for the moment, going down this long backstretch here. But what we just saw from the 14 of Connor O'Kresick there in turn 9, the turn 8 or 9 region, that's about what we saw from the actual Cup racing. So they could go over the rumble strips and inside that red paint, but couldn't go any further. Otherwise, he'd be off the track and they would have to give up the position. So technique pass there, and no, that is not what they did. The one of Ryan Swan going off the track there, exploring the whereabouts of this large road course here at COTA. Through the stadium section, and now Justin Wilson and Dwayne Culberson, they're still going at it for this 14th position. 13th and 14th, excuse me. There's the 14th position of Justin Wilson.
And we're able to fix our issue with the overlays, so we'll be back on that now. So.
And we got Dom DeLeo coming down pit road as we're nearing the stage caution.
See, this is what we were talking about before the break. I said, I wonder if anybody, because of the fuel situation, would come down before the pits were closed, because they can, by my prediction, have enough fuel to go the distance at the end, and Dom DeLeo will leapfrog himself to the top of the board because everybody else is going to come down during the competition caution for fuel.
Yeah, it's right here. It's looking like it might be not last week, yesterday's race from Sonoma, because it seemed like it was just track position with these next gen cars. You can get close to someone, but really you'd have to send it and possibly move someone out of the way in order to pass someone. And it looks like we might be seeing that here at COTA. Haven't seen a position change yet inside the top 5. We are seeing some close racing though. Nick Johnston closing in on the 7 of Scioli. Scioli ran a 2:12.7 last time by, and the 28 of Nick Johnston a 2:12.2.
The Travis Beckner say they won't have enough to go to the end. They got to go to the end of the stage, is what he's saying. What I saw on just wondering if we might be using a different setup, but the setup that I had showed we could go 22 laps on fuel. So, and then they could milk it out a little bit, maybe a little longer, but Travis Beckner saying that's not going to work, so we'll see.
I think the thing that maybe DeLeo has played into is the fact that this is such a long road course, 3.42 miles.
Mm-hmm.
He might be thinking about saving fuel.
You also got to remember, though, that when the caution flag's thrown at lap 10, it's going to be 2 or 3 laps before we go back to green flag, too.
We see Balancino and Rafe Slate coming down pit road, and as we mentioned in the pre-race, it's the completion of lap 8 where pit road will be closed. So the 70 and the 12 are coming in. Connor O'Kresick is in as well. And who knows? We could be seeing the leaders come in. We could see the top 4 come in. It'll be interesting. Now there is no bonus points for winning this stage. I'll put that in quotes because this is not a real stage.
Competition,
it's just a competition call. Yep.
Competition
exactly.
caution. We're familiar with that with NASCAR. You know, to test the tires, we're gonna throw a caution at lap 10. So.
gap continuing to close between the 7 and the 28, and then just a little further behind, you see the 33 of Weishart holding on to third. And then Nick Johnston running in fourth. And then all the way in the back there, Cameron Hearn on his own has the 5th spot to himself. No lap cars in sight. Should point out for Cameron Hearn, because I don't know why, but he's a magnet for lap cars, and so far he has yet to encounter a lap car. So really good stuff there from the 67. Really cool to see here the 7 and the 28, Scioli and Johnston. Neither of these guys have had a cup win this season. I don't think had a cup win at all. So this will be something to keep an eye on if it comes down to any one of these two cars. And we'll have to see here. They're going to stay on the track, and the 33 and the 91 right behind are going to make their way down pit road.
Yep.
Just before pit road closes.
Yep.
So these cars
pit lane is closed now.
Right there. Yep. Completion of lap 8. Pit road is closed. So those two timed it perfect. They had a decent enough gap to where they could come down pit road before the completion of lap 8. So anyone else that comes in now will be penalized.
That's right. See, Transcendent Motorsports, they're behind me. It says that everybody's a critic to the Larry Mack of area. I got critics out here, man. They going, I don't agree with your lap count, sir. But and it's funny because we always seem to estimate low, and we got Travis saying, nope, not going to happen. So we shall see.
We shall see indeed what the fuel count will be by the end of this for Dom DeLeo, if we'll have to come back down pit road or not. And that is
Mark Patterson.
The 51 of Mark Patterson. Might be a lap down before this thing is over. Not really sure what's been amiss with the 51, if he might have been off course a little bit, but his last lap was of 2:34, so he might have been venturing off the course just from what I can see. And Johnston went off as well.
Yep.
Nearly getting into the back of Patterson there, so that's going to allow a little breathing room for the 7 of Scioli. And looks like Patterson's just going to roam through the grass there in the middle of the stadium section, right around turn 13, and he's back on the track. And that was weird.
Mm-hmm.
I think he went wide there through turn 12 just to kind of stay out of the leader's way, and then for some reason the 28 of Johnston went a little bit wide through that turn.
Drew Trader, I knew what you were saying, and I'm the Larry Mack, and I'm getting all kinds of flack. That's like, but you know what? People are paying attention, so I guess that's the takeaway. So we're going to be starting the final lap before the competition caution. So next time either Scioli or Johnston cross the stripe here, the competition yellow will fly, and then they'll reset these guys up. I'm thinking they'll probably go 2 laps, maybe 3 under caution, and then we'll get back to green flag racing with no cautions after that.
Yep, no yellows after the stage caution or the competition caution. At the completion of this lap number 10, it's still James Scioli leading the way. He's led every lap so far. Nick Johnston has been close in tow every lap since the initial start. I'm going to look through here and see where some of these guys will come out in. So the highest up of drivers that have pitted, Jake Nichols, and I'm looking through this as it'll be a cycle. So when the caution comes out, those who have yet to pit are obviously going to pit. That's going to cycle Jake Nichols into the lead.
Actually, Jake Nichols did not come down.
Oh, he did not come down.
No, that's if you're in the lane at all, there's no box time. So the first person that's been in his pits is David Weishart in the 10th spot.
Oh, that is interesting, and it's the same for Balancino also. Yeah. I'm not sure what
they may have touched the pit entrance area, and ATVO sees that inside that area and calculates it as they were on pit lane. Happens every once in a while on super speedways as well.
He definitely went down pit road because he lost a lot of time and he's down in six. So I'm not
Did
sure.
they run? Did they drive through?
It might have driven through. I'm not sure.
See if I
We
can
might have to
find
take
it.
a look at that. That's a bit odd, and it's not only him, but it's Valentino also as
Yeah. Let me go
Mr.
back and check
Wilson
it out.
going wide.
Let's see if I can find it here.
Keep an eye on the number 23 of Garrett Heath there. Almost similar to the car behind the 33 of David Weishart, both running yellow numbered schemes with red and black.
So that caution should be coming out now.
Johnston takes over
Caution
as
is
the
out.
leader. Yellow is out, so you have to see if the 7 of Scioli is the leader or if it's the 28, because the 28 is still going.
No.
I think it's the completion of lap 10 for everyone, and I don't
No,
think the
actually,
7
it was
realized.
it was supposed to be the leader. It was lap 10 for the leader. Just like it was, they cut the pits off at 8 when Scioli crossed. Because they're a little bit behind, and the thing is it's a command. It has to be typed by race control. It's exclamation point caution or exclamation point yellow, and then they have to hit enter. And if there's a little bit of a delay, could be from the computer or whatnot, and we'll have to look at that. So be up to the race control to figure it out for us.
That's something we will keep an eye on from race control up there, Pierce Moffitt and
Eric
Jacob
Weiland's up
Hudson.
there.
Oh, Eric Weiland's up there. Oh,
Yeah.
okay. So we'll have to see, but these guys are still going. I see the cautions out on ATVO, but
I'm not sure why
these guys are still rolling.
That's why here is. I'm sorry about that. When we had to reset. We didn't reset our triggers, so we are under caution.
We'll have to see what the official ruling is if Johnson is leader or Scioli. Either way, neither of those guys are going to come out of pit road as the leader because we're going to have some cars stay out as they've pitted before.
Yeah,
the
I don't think
yellow.
Nick did because you see there, Nick Johnson hasn't led a lap. So crossing the stripe was Scioli because he's led all 10. But we'll see what they say, how they figure it out.
Yeah, we'll get official ruling on that. Also trying to see if we can find what happened to Jake Nichols in his pit stop because he showed that he was only in his pit lane for 2 seconds, but not in the pit box at all. I don't know what the deal is on that. And yeah, now it looks like the yellow is officially out, and the 7 will be the leader. So it's like it was to the line. So not really sure there if that lap might count for Nick Johnson as a lap led, but Scioli's led 10 and Nick Johnson just led that last one, so I'm not sure.
Interesting how they'll
That is-
figure that one out.
I'm baffled by that.
Yeah.
Well, we will figure this all out.
So lap down is Mark Patterson, so he will be getting a wave around as long as he doesn't come down pit lane first.
Mark Patterson, the only car 1 lap down, so he will be getting the free pass. And we'll see if we can find out what happened to Jake Nichols, if he actually came down pit road or just drove through the pit lane. I don't know. This is something that I've never seen. So we'll go back, and he did. So this is a replay. He is right behind the 33 of Weishart, who came in and pitted, spent 14.5 seconds in his pit box. So we'll see if the 91 stopped in his box.
You know, it could also be that I had that issue that I had when we restarted it, it was in the midst of it. So that's possible.
He might have done
4 tires. Yeah, I think it was we were talking about. I had to reload the ATV overlays, and it might have been right at that time, and that confused the system.
I was saying, in the system, it's got Valentino and where is it? Valentino and Nichols not stopping in their box, but going through the pit lane for only 1.8 seconds or 2.2 seconds. So a little confusion
Yeah, I think.
there from
Yeah,
Gorman.
I think that they both took tires and such, but like I said, when I did the resetting of the overlays, our timing and scoring was shut off briefly, so it didn't finish their cycle. Basically, I didn't see it, because I shut it off briefly. But, we'll be all right.
Yep. A little confusion here towards the competition. Caution, once again, only done at road course events for area racing. So we have this race for the competition yellows, and then I believe we'll have it. Excuse me, I believe we'll have it for COTA, because COTA, the Roval, two different acronyms.
Mm-hmm.
We're at COTA now. The Roval will be in the playoffs, so I'm gonna have to see if
the same.
It might be the same for the Roval, because it is technically a road course, but it's also on an oval, so that's why it is shortened to Roval.
Yeah, I find it interesting they call it the Roval when the Daytona road course has been doing that since the 24 hours of Daytona way long ago.
It might have been the first time NASCAR's ever, done that for.
Yeah, true. Yeah, I guess it was.
Like an oval.
Yeah, because they didn't run the Daytona road course until after Charlotte, right?
Yeah, that was in 2020, and for 2021, because NASCAR could not go to California and run Auto Club, so that is why we switched it around. Actually, you know what? 2020, it's because they couldn't go to Sonoma, so they ran the Daytona road course instead.
Right.
2021 is because they couldn't go to Auto Club. So now we'll see the leaders come down pit road and possibly make their only stop of the race.
So Rowdy's checked us in, so Gary's up, and as we got the top people coming down, so looks like everybody coming in. Probably is Jake Nichols. See, he stayed out. There's our past the guy. Our wave around car just went around. So Jake Nichols and Alan Ballacino, with their last minute pit before the closure, put themselves in the top two positions for the restart.
Yep, Nichols, Balancino, what is Rafe Slate? Oh, I'm not sure what that is. It might be a boring glitch there with Rafe Slate. I don't know why he was up front. I don't see him anywhere towards the front, but it's going to be Jake Nichols, Alan Balancino, David Weishart. Oh, there's Rafe Slate right there, right behind Dom DeLeo.
Yeah.
And DeLeo, okay, there's Slate. I don't know. He's lost his mind. He's driving through the pace car.
I don't know what Rafe's doing.
That's a first for me. I'm not sure what's going on there with the 12.
But kind of needing to see what race controls decided. I saw that they waived Scioli's black flag, so iRacing did put Nicholas Johnston as the race leader at the time of the caution, but as we know, it was intended to be at the stripe, so the race control switched them back. That's what it looks like to me. We just need to have a confirmation on that.
So during this pace lap, we want to take time to thank Elite Entertainment for their coverage of tonight's running at COTA for the Elite Entertainment Cup Series. So, Elite Entertainment. We would like to thank Elite Entertainment for their support of the Elite Entertainment Cup Series and from all of us here at Area. Be sure to check out Elite Entertainment on Facebook and book them to DJ your next event. Now, I'm not sure if we'll be getting the one to go this time, because it is different for road courses, and I'm pretty sure where we saw the cars pull through for the initial rolling pace lap halfway down this straightaway here, we might see that for the caution lights. So we'll know through here if they're going to go green this time or if they're going to go another pace lap around. The number 91 of Jake Nichols will restart as the leader, with Balancino in second, Weishart, DeLeo, Okresic the top five. Dwayne Culberson, Tyler Nichols, going to be restarting sixth and seventh. And then you got to go to James Skylerly, P8, the first car out of pit road. And so it looks like we're going to be going another pace lap around COTA, I believe. So we'll go ahead and take a little break. We'll go side by side here with a little interview from our most recent episode of the Area Happy Hour podcast with last week's winner, David Weishart.
And you've obviously turned it around since then, and we're ironically, like we said earlier, filming this after your first Cup win of the season. That was one of the questions I had. I think I know the answer though. Is what's been your highlight of the season? Hunter kind of referred to the low light, your run-ins with Okrezik, week 2, just bad start to the year. But so far, what would you say has been your highlight? I think I might know the answer, but
yeah, obviously the highlight is tonight. Before tonight, if you'd asked me before the race, it would have been last week at 2 weeks ago at Rockingham.
That's what I was thinking too.
I love Rockingham. I was so looking forward to that race. But yeah, tonight's the highlight. I led 80% of the race and just had a clean, quiet race, if you can call that a quiet race. But yeah, it was a lot of fun tonight. To just go out, honestly, it was just fun to go out and have a clean race, and to get the win was just the cherry on top.
Yeah, you talked about Rockingham. That battle was something else I wanted to get into because you were definitely one of the fastest guys out there, but it looked like at the end of the race at Rockingham, Colin Fambro, who's actually your driver on Tuesday nights on David Weishart Racing, he was running you down there at the end, and you had to throw some blocks, and you guys had to race elbows up those last 40 laps or so. And I know it was probably fun behind the driver's seat.
Oh yeah, Rockingham's always a lot of fun from the driver's seat. I really enjoy that track. It's really a driver's track. You got to really manage the tires, and unlike some of the tracks and the car combinations we have nowadays, it's just you don't have to ease back into the gas or ease out of it. It's just all the way in or all the way out, and there's really no repercussions for it unless you get into somebody. But yeah, I was really looking forward to that, and I know we had a spirited battle there at the end. That's hard racing. I hope he looks at it the same way. I'm not one to really throw big blocks, and if that had happened early in the race, I honestly don't think I would have done that. I didn't think the block was that big anyway. But we're racing for the win, and on that slippery surface, it's just. And at Rockingham, if you enter the corner too light or too hard, it makes a big difference there. And I didn't mean to run him down there on the apron. That wasn't my goal at all. I like I said, I wouldn't want that done to me, and I don't like doing that to other people. But going back to what I said earlier, I've had a rough start to the season in the Cup car, and I just go run the Xfinity races for fun. I'm not running for points. I'm not even playoff eligible anymore. So I was just looking at it to go out there and have fun, and I really wanted to win to get some momentum built back up, and luckily it looks like that's happened. We're entering a stretch here of the season that these tracks I really enjoy racing at.
Yeah, I think you mentioned that on the broadcast tonight too. After you won at Charlotte, that this stretch, you got COTA coming up next race, and then Nashville where you won in season 1 coming up, and then Talladega at the end of to end the regular season. So, I mean, these next 3 races, what are your expectations there? Now that you have the winning Cup, you're pretty much locked into the playoffs. What are you going to try to make out of COTA, Nashville, and then Talladega?
Well, obviously the goal is to win. I like COTA a lot. It's my favorite road course. I'm not a big road course guy, but if we're gonna go to a road course, that's the one I like to go to. I have pretty good success there, and like you said at Nashville, I won there last year, so I got a lot of confidence going in there. I don't like Talladega. I don't like super speedway racing. That just is what it is. But yeah, if there's any time for me to get some momentum built up, it's right now because Charlotte, COTA, and Nashville are my bread and butter, you could say, I guess.
Who would be the person to kind of steal your bread and butter? Like say your biggest rival. That's what I'm kind of hinting at. I know you had some run-ins with Okrezik. I'm not sure if he's your biggest rival, but is there like someone on the track where you just can't stand to race around? And It'll take like one small thing to like flip a switch and then just go
Push you
all
over the
after him.
edge.
Yeah, push him over the edge.
I honestly don't know if there's one person that I can point out specifically that I just don't like racing against. I really haven't had outside of the Okrezik stuff, and that wasn't even most of that was just hard racing. But I mean, honestly, I don't have one person that I just don't enjoy racing around in the Cup Series. But I mean, if I had to pick like a rival that's like not that I don't like racing around him, but obviously I judge everything I do almost every week off of whatever Jake Nichols is doing and whatever my teammate James Scioli's doing. I think and
That was just a little snippet of our interview with David Weishart. You can catch the rest of it on our Spotify and YouTube channel. It's up on both platforms. The whole point of Happy Hour being the name is for it to be an hour. That interview alone was 35 minutes, so the whole episode is about an hour 29. If you have the time, listen to it. It's really good stuff. With last week's winner, David Weishart. As the field comes back to the green flag, Jake Nichols leads the way through COTA once more.
Now this is where it gets interesting. Does Harold and the
Oh, here
pit...
comes David Weishart.
Yeah, he
Oh,
tried to make
goodness.
that corner, and he backed out quick,
Wow.
too, because it had been contact with the 91. But this is where I had my crew chief hat on and said the guys like Palacino and Nichols, I think they got fuel to the end. Travis Beckner, he says that the odds in Vegas say that I don't know what I'm talking about. Well, you know what? I got my money on the 91 and the 70. They got fuel to the end. Mark my words on it.
Keep an eye on them because the fuel situation is interesting. Because, like Harold said, he had it at 22 laps. Beckner said that, I don't think they can make it. So we'll have to keep an eye. Fuel's been a question to answer for this entire season of area iRacing, whether it's the Cup cars, truck cars, or Xfinity. Fuel's always been the number one question. How far can they go? Are they too short, or they go way past what our lap is on fuel? Gary Lewis in the chat offering to be a part of the Happy Hour podcast for our next guest. We still have yet to find a guest for episode number 3 of this podcast. We had the intro for episode 1 and David Weishart aboard episode 2. And as mentioned, it's available to listen to on Spotify and on our YouTube channel, Area iRacing. As Jake Nichols works his way through the stadium section and now into the carousel section, this wide turn. Valentino running in second, Weishart third, Connor Okrezik is fourth. Rafe Slate is in P number 5. Now, I felt like it might be a track position race, so this will be interesting to see because there's no cautions from here on out, and we have just now crossed the halfway portion of tonight's event. So we'll go ahead and give you your top 10 rundown presented by Swift Lifestyles. Fans, be sure to visit our sponsor Swift Lifestyles for clean supplements that can help improve your focus in game. You can use the discount code on your screen, Area iRacing, AREA iRacing, for 15% off any order. We would like to give a big thanks to Swift Lifestyles for their continuous support of Area iRacing. Now, Jake Nichols has been the car to beat all season long in the Cup Series. He was running in the 4th spot before the competition caution came out, and right at the very last lap before pit road closed, he and David Weishart made their pit stops. And so the 91 of Nichols has taken over as race leader from those early pit stops, as the rest of the field had to come down pit road. So keep an eye on that 91. He might go for win number 5 on the season in the Cup Series. And right behind him is a driver trying to get his first win in the Cup Series and keep a solid finishing streak going, and that is the 70 of Alan Balancino from Frazikis Motorsports. As mentioned, he's had solid finishes the last couple of weeks, and he's only in the cut line by 2 points. David Weishart, last week's winner and the last guest on the Happy Hour podcast, running in the 3rd spot for that number 33. That's kind of where he's been. He was in 3rd before the pit stops. After the pit stops, he's 3rd. All 3s for David Weishart in the 33. Connor O'Kreslik was another driver that pitted before the competition caution came out and before pit road closed, so he finds himself in the 4th spot.
You know,
Haven't seen
Kresik,
him.
interestingly with Kresik, though, he started in the pits.
Yeah, it is true. He started in the pits.
So dead last.
He's made up some ground all the way up into 4th with calls that he has made. So another driver to keep an eye on. And here, this has been the driver that's led the most laps so far, James Scioli. He led all the way until the comp yellow came out. Did not pit until said yellow came out. And now he finds himself back inside the top 5. And right behind him, the 2nd place car in that stint was the 28 of Nick Johnston. He led 2 laps. One of those was questionable, but he still led a lap. That's a bonus point for that number 28. And coming into this race, a lot of people said that he might be the favorite. We'll see if that plays true in the second half of this race. In the 12 of race slate, he went a little crazy under the caution. We're not sure why. He didn't get penalized for it, but he went all over the place. But other than that, he's had a solid run, stayed inside the top 10 for basically the whole race, and he's running in the 7th spot. He's also had a couple of good finishes the last couple of weeks, along with Valancino. Cameron Hearn was running in the 5th spot before the comp yellow came out, so he's had top 5 speed all day. Finds himself in the 8th spot after the difference in pits for the drivers in front of him. All right, here we got a battle for the 9th spot. It's going to go to Dwayne Culberson, but right now, and Brad Slaughter just went around. Brad Slaughter just spun out, coming out of turn number 10 as we focus on Dwayne Culberson. So the 88 is back going, but the 81 takes over their position. And he is also close to the cutoff. Looking to put together a solid run for Solar Flare Racing and hopefully to join his teammate Jake Nichols as the race goes on. And Dom DeLeo was one of the first cars, if not the first car, to come down pit road and pit just a little early before pit road close. He finds himself in the 10th spot. That was your top 10 rundown presented by Swift Lifestyles. And I believe Brad Slaughter is still running in the 12th spot, but that was interesting. I mean, he got a little too much there going through. I believe that was turn 9, not turn 10. He is still going, and like we said, no caution, so he falls down to the 12th spot, right behind the 11th place car of Garrett Heath. But back up front, only a half-second advantage, now increasing just a little bit for the 91, Jake Nichols. As we're working through lap 18, let's go ahead and get a quick look at our track facts presented by Lottie'sTravelWorld.com as we're on lap 18 of 30. We're going to focus on Jordan Martin here. The COTA 150K, mostly cloudy skies, although it seems like the sun is shining in some parts of the track. Track time is actually 1:11 here under the hot blazing sun in Austin, Texas. Air temp 73, humidity 63%, and the winds, it's windy. South winds coming at 10 miles an hour. What does that do to a race car, especially on a road?
Well, it's going to have a little bit of aero issue. So you're going to be pushed. So you got to know when you're facing into the wind, when you're being pushed from behind, when you're being pushed sideways. At 10 miles an hour, that could get that car a little bit loose entering some of these turns. And a little bit tight as well.
Speaking of tight, there is the 31 of Sheena. Well,
I was going to say that, I saw something they were talking about that, well, he's going way wide there, that the new, with the windshield wiper being used yesterday at Sonoma to help with aerodynamics. I don't know if you saw that little thing. They're talking about the box that can be put over the windshield wiper and that it was helping with the aerodynamics of the car, I guess, directing part of the wind over the windshield.
Yeah, I was going to say there were quite a bit of windshields that looked to be a little more thick than usual.
Like Kyle Larson's?
I was thinking of Denny Hamlin's. This was the one that stood out a lot. I mean, that is He had a thick windshield wiper. I don't know why, but it was thick.
They said there's a box that they could put around the windshield wiper, and I believe the article said it could be like 1.5 inches.
Okay.
But they were using it to help with the aero with the car, which I thought was kind of interesting. So I was wondering why that, you know, that we see IMSA and you always see the windshield wiper is in the up position and not down.
Don't think we'll be needing any windshield wipers for this race as we continue to look around the track. Justin Wilson, Ryan Hartz over there, running around the 11th spot. Oh, you look, actually that's 13th, my apologies.
Ooh, there's the 45.
Oh.
Siding podding around.
Side fine spins just coming out of turn 1. I was just saying my leaderboard was a little frozen. Now it's back, and the 45 going to be dropping down the leaderboard after that spin out of turn 1. Might have had a little more smoke there towards the S's. Everyone's keeping it going, so don't see anything out of the norm just yet. That 3 car, that 88 car, that 58 car, they're all battling for that 12th position. And then right behind you got Tyler Nichols just waiting to bounce on anything that happens, as Wilson's going to hold in. Well, though, gonna slide through a little bit. Slaughter gonna be closer to the bumper. Jordan Martin there going a little bit wide in the back. Shingle's gonna get around him for the 16th spot. Ryan Harsh now looking to the inside of Brad Slaughter. This is for
We had a 12th spot here.
saying it's still a little frozen for me. I'm not sure why, but that was for the 12th spot. Ryan Hart's in 12th. The 88 continuing to drop through the field, especially after that spin where he was running inside the top 10 and just lost it there coming through turn 9.
This is the tightest group in the track. That's why we're kind of sitting here for right now. Kind of give you guys something to watch for a little while. Whoa, sliding around.
Slaughter getting a little sideways, and Ryan Hart's actually going to let him go. Slaughter now moves up in front of the 3. And back here, James Sheenwolf going to look underneath Tyler Nichols for the 14th spot. And right around here, Nick Johnson has moved into 5th over James Schuyler. Tyler Nichols, yes, this is the teammate and the brother of Jake Nichols for Solar Flare Racing. Which I know there's a good bit of people that picked Solar Flare Racing down in the chat.
I know they can stop doing that. It messes with my wins. My winnings gets less.
So here's Jordan Martin in the number 11. He's currently scored 16th on the track with Garrett Grant right behind in 17th. It looks like the 23 of Garrett Heath is down pit road. He might have called it a day.
Garrett Heat has dropped due to packet loss, so internet connection.
Oh, that is the worst one to have. There's the 7 and the 28 running 5th and 6th on the racetrack. Boy, a lot of ground for these guys to make up if they want to have a shot at catching Jake Nichols, because he has checked out a 1.5 second lead over Alan Balancino. David Whitesart 3rd, Okresic 4th. As we mentioned, Nick Johnson and James Scarley running 5th and 6th.
Currently looking at our drone shot for the hairpin. This is the entry into the longest straightaway on the track, or as Hunter pointed out, the fastest section of the track.
It is indeed the fastest section. We see the top speeds here because of how long this backstretch is. Just spitballing here, but it might be it's close to a mile long. That straightaway is. It is insanely long and insanely fast. There it is. There's the aerial shot. Look at how long it is compared to the rest of the track. But you thought the S's were long. No, this back straightaway is that's turn 11 through turn 12 right there. Fastest section of the track as we come back down to ground level, and this is the highest point of the track where these cars will go. 130 feet, the difference between the highest point and the lowest point. So the highest point is over here in turn number 1. I believe the lowest point of the track might be around turn 12 in that stadium section.
At the end of the corner, at the end of the longest straightaway. So the highest speed right here, as you see the guys having to woe that car all the way down to about 30 miles an hour.
Let's jump right into that battle for, it's now the 4th position. Johnston and Scioli have caught up with the 14 of Connor O'Kresick as they're trying to make their way through the field and into the top 5. At least the 7 of Scioli's trying to do that. So we haven't seen Connor O'Kresick.
Weishart passed
Weishart has moved
Balcino.
up to, he has moved up past Balancino. He's taken over the 2nd spot. Will he have enough time to get around the 91 of Jake Nichols?
Well, the question is, does Jake have enough fuel?
It will be interesting to see. Move a little further back here. Cameron Hearn and Rafe Sleet running in 7th and 8th. Rafe going a little bit too wide there. It's going to allow the 67 to close in. To stay tucked in on the bumper of the 12. The 4th really closing in. Johnson's actually lost the 5th position to Scioli. I've gone a little squirrely there out of turn 1.
A lot of horsepower in these cars for this particular track, and they don't have the downforce that the Formula One and Indy cars have to keep the tires on the concrete. So tire hop, wheel hop, as you've been told, can cause that rear end to snap around on them. And they already were complaining, at least the real Cup car guys were complaining, that the cars were snap happy to begin with.
It's just increasing now for the lead. It was at 1.1.5 seconds. It's now 3.5 seconds between Jake Nichols and now 2nd place driver David Weishart.
Yeah.
Now, last time by, Jake Nichols ran a 2:11.2. David Weishart ran a 2:11.9.
So, incidence points being given for off tracks as Alan Balancino trying to go 3 digits. He's at 93.
You know, and it's funny you mentioned that because Ryan Swan had said earlier, "Oh, we're going to see someone with at least 100," and we're near that mark.
And we still got 8 laps to go.
Oh, we still got 8 laps. We might see 150. We're only at 93. There is the 91 of Jake Nichols continuing to. It seems like he's just on a stroll around this track. That's how big his lead is. It's 3.6 seconds and flying. Then uphill through turn number 1. Right on board with Jake Nichols and see what that 91 car is doing from the cockpit. And now he rolls down the long backstretch here. Boy, it just seems like he makes it look so easy. should point out, he has the highest I rating in the field. Actually, that's changed. I believe that's the, if I'm correct, Harold, this is the road course I rating.
Correct.
Yep. So he has the highest in there at 2.6K.
But it looks like James Scioli actually holds the highest I rating per road at 38.47, 3.8.
Yeah. No, you're right. Well, that's blowing me off. He's got the highest I rating overall in the field at 7.2K, but yeah, he does not have the highest I rating amongst road courses. That is, my apologies there. And Scioli,
but he definitely has the I rating for the NASCAR Cup Series in iRacing, since he was participated so many times in the Coca-Cola Series. But yeah, he probably doesn't do a lot of road courses, is my guess, because he's spending so much time in ovals.
Might be the case, but as you mentioned, he is a former NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing driver. Has a 7.2K I rating on ovals, and it looks like road courses, as you mentioned, not too much on that for I rating. Fourth highest amongst the field, 2.6K. Highest in the field is James Scioli at 3.8K. Then a step below, 3.7K for Nick Johnston.
Yep. And
then Alan Balancino, third highest with a 3.2K.
Yeah, the thing about when we were at Bristol Dirt, it was shown the dirt oval I rating. So there's actually 4 I ratings in iRacing. There you have the concrete oval, dirt oval, concrete road, and dirt road. So, or more like rally so there's 4 separate I rating systems, and those ratings move up and down based on officials or pickup races that are hosted by iRacing service.
Speaking of 4, the battle for the 4th spot has closed up. James Scioli has caught back up to the bumper of Connor O'Kresick. He's brought Nick Johnston with him as well. I would say he had a little breathing room from the 28, but it looks like the 28's breathing right back down the neck of the number 7. Oh, tried an interesting line there as they were rolling through 13, now through 14. The 28 of Nick Johnston is going to have a little dive at the inside of the 7. This is for the 5th spot, right behind the 14 car. 7 runs a bit wide in order to stay in position, and now they'll work their way around the carousel.
Yeah, solidly. He was trying to outbrake the 7. Looked like he had it for a brief moment, but wasn't able to capitalize off the corner.
Then they work their way through the final turn, turn number 20. And this is going to set up for an interesting lap into turn number 1. Seven closing back in on the 14. Boy, really close battle here. So 7 getting right next to the 14. Contact. They make contact through the S's between O'Kresick and Scioli. Johnston licking his lips. He's liking what he's seen. He wants to move up. He wants more contact so he can move up 2 spots instead of 1.
You know, I said about the S's was not a place to pass, and we just saw why.
Oh, and the 14, he got a little bobble there coming out of turn number 9 through turn 10. The 7 down underneath the 14. He'll take over 4th. Here comes Nick Johnston. He might try a 2-for-1 here. He does not, but that 14 has a nice launch out of turn 11 and down this long backstretch. He's going to be side by side with Nick Johnston for the 5th spot. Like you mentioned, Harold, the S's, there's only so much you can do through the S's. You really can't go side by side. Otherwise, we see what we just saw there, contact between the 14 and the 7.
You lose so much time trying to go too wide there. I mean, it's really a straight 1 lane through the S's to get through it the quickest. And not really in the brake. You saw a lot of lifting or holding on the throttle as we were listening to Jake Nichols when we were on board with him. A lot of other places that you get past, out braking, out maneuvering the corners, or having a really good run off the start of the hairpin, going down that long straightaway.
And you mentioned of good runs, and that was probably I think the best the corner of the track for the 14 of Oak Crescent because of how tight he can run turn 8 and turn 9, propels him through the next 2 turns down into turn 11. But he had a little bobble there, and it costed him 2 spots. He was holding his own in 4th, and now he's trying to regain the 5th position from Nick Johnston as James Skylerly looking to drive away from that battle behind. $14 down low through turn 1. Looks like he'll clear it on the 28 of Nick Johnston. Johnston going to get settled in here. They come their way through the S's.
You see how they're trying to get their tires on the rumble strips left and right.
Boy, the 14 hit one of those yellow, I guess you could call it turtles or bumps there. He hit it a ton.
Yeah, that'll really upset the car.
But see right there, he gets such a nice run there through turn 8 and turn 9. And now last time by, he had a bobble.
Update from the incident counter. Total incidents for all drivers, 1,250. And the car number 70 has 105 of those.
That might be a new track record.
Yeah.
And we've only got 5 laps left. So that could go up to 1,500. I don't know if it'll go to 2,000, but 1,500 might be at reach.
Oh, 28 and 14, they still fighting.
They're still trying to reach for that 5th position. Johnston on the outside, Okrezik on the inside, and now it's going to flip-flop here. So they're going to work their way through turn 14 and down into turn 15 where, a lockup there from Nick Johnston. He's going to have the inside run. Here comes a crossover from the 14 of Okrezik. I don't think we've seen, a bump.
I think
Contact.
Okrezik lifted so that they wouldn't get into a wreck.
This is the Ross Chastain punt corner. No punts here just yet.
Not yet, but the 28 sure locked up those tires. He had blown that corner, and
he
the
blows
14
this corner
saw
too.
it. Yeah.
Here comes Nick Johnston trying to get another run on the outside. The 14 of Okrezik. They're door to door, and this is our CNC logging battle of the race here as they come across the stripe for 4 to go here at COTA. We'd like to thank CNC Logging for their support of the CNC Logging Truck Series this season in area. Located in Boiling Springs, South Carolina, CNC Logging is your place to go for any of your logging needs. God wood, big or small, summer or fall, we'll cut your log, guaranteed. CNC Logging. And it looks like these two are trying to cut their noses off. The 28 and the 14 still going at it for the 5th spot. 14 went a bit wide there. Could have a little crossover here. Boy, this is such a neat battle here between the 28 of Nick Johnston and the 14 of Connor Okrezik. So they're going to work their way down through turn 10 and now into turn 11. 14 is going to go a little wide to try and cut it back in and get the long run down the backstretch here. As you see, Jake Nichols continuing to lead 4-second gap between he and second place driver David Weishart. Alan Ballacchino, solid run in the 3rd spot. There's Skyoli running in 4th. And right behind the battle we've been keeping an eye on, Nick Johnston and Connor Okrezik. And I'm pretty sure the 7 is glad that he's out of there because they're still going at it. Going wide, they're making contact, they're bumping, they're grinding. Haven't seen anyone run yet. You've seen these guys be able to get out in front of one another, but they can't drive away. Nichols will come across the stripe and take 3 to go, but Man, this is the cleanest battle. Well, not cleanest. It's clean for the most part for now. This is the closest battle on the track that we have at the moment. But it's the most intense. This is a top 5 position. So Kresick trying to look to the inside. Oh, he's going to lock him up there. He's going to go a little bit wide.
Oh, buddy.
He's going to take the spot. But here comes Johnston back on the inside. He had too much of a lock up there.
Mm-hmm. It looked like Brad Keselowski taking turn 1 at the Roval.
Just going straight.
Yep. No turn.
and everyone else following. But fortunately, the nearest car behind him, Cameron Earn, it's about 6 seconds gap between those two. So no one running into him from behind. As here's his best section, turn 8, getting the launch through turn 9. Johnston went a little wide there. This is going to allow the 14 to have a chance to send it going into turn 11. He's going to do it. Oh, Louisiana dive bomb, a little too hot. And he came almost to a complete stop there. And Nick Johnston's going to take the 5th spot, and he's going to drive it like he stole it.
Now we're going to come off of this. We'll look for another interesting battle like Garrett Grant and Tyler Nichols. So it's TK Nichols and Garrett Grant back here for the 15th spot.
15th position is still within reach for the 5 of Garrett Grant. Tyler Nichols holds on to that spot. We've had a few cars come down pit road, and they're actually still down pit road. I believe one of them was Mark Patterson, Ed Robertson, and Jay Perkins. Looks like at some point all of these guys have disconnected.
Yep. 4 drivers have ended their night, so tough track. I mean, it's not an easy track to race with a road car, let alone a car as heavy as one of these cars that don't want to slow down.
So we have 2 to go here from COTA. Jake Nichols with a 5-second gap over David Weissar as he's continuing to lead his way through the S's.
Where's my buddy Travis?
That's a good question. I'm not too sure.
Where's Travis Beckner? He's telling me today that I was incorrect. Dom DeLeo's still out there, and he was the guy with the longest 22 laps. So maybe maybe my calculus kicked in. Yeah, he's still a young man. He hasn't gone to calculus yet. He's at AP math.
I'll say I never did calculus. Couldn't do it.
All right, back when I was going through high school, they had a thing called fuzzy math that had a lot to do with science notations for low level at molecular level. Blow your mind getting into that stuff when you talk about quantum mechanics.
Oh my God! Science was not my favorite subject in school. Math was my favorite subject in school, but science was my least favorite. So I'm not sure how that would work out.
I always saw them hand to hand. Math and science go together. But 91 of Mr. Nichols, like you said, just kind of strolling a nice easy run here. Like Tony was saying with Suarez, all he has to do is keep it nice and smooth and receive the checkered flag as the white flag's in the air coming down the final straightaway, and he puts up the fastest lap at the same time. Making it look easy. He's like, yeah, I think I'll throw up a fast lap too while I'm at it.
So the white flag is out, and as we just saw, Jake Nichols took the 1 to go, presented by 1 to go Studios, and rolls through the S's for the final time, and he took over as the driver with the fastest lap, which was, I believe, a 2:11.5. I believe that's correct.
2:11.642.
Ah.
See if I can pull it up here. There it is, 211.642.
So the 91 going to make his way down turn 10 and into turn 11 and going to make the tight left-hand turn here and down the long backstretch for the final time. David Weishart still running in second. Balancino still running in third. Fourth, fifth, and sixth, the battles have simmered off there. It's Scioli, Johnston, and Connor Okresic.
Now he's actually, the 91 has found the back marker here, and maybe that's Adam Capps. Kind of a different color for Adam.
Yeah, different paint scheme for the 55 of Capps as the leader, Jake Nichols, catches him through the stadium section. See if the 55 pulls to the side here. He might just run it to the finish.
Ooh, wide in the carousel. No, Jake might not even pressure him with that kind of lead that he has, 4 seconds, because this is where it gets into etiquette. Do you let Adam Capps finish on the lead lap?
He's going to do that. He is indeed going to do that. And coming out of turn 20 for the final time, checker flag in the air. Give it to Jake Nichols, his 5th win on the season. He wins at COTA. And there's Weishart coming home in second. Balancino going to come home with a solid 3rd place run. And then right behind, James Scioli.
No, he's disconnected.
Well,
I don't know. I don't know if he actually finished the race.
As I say, I did see on the ticker that he kept blinking in and out towards the end. It looks like he's credited with 4th, Johnston 5th, Okresic P16. We'll have to wait until the whole field comes through and we'll get the final results here.
Wow, it like Scioli blinks out right here on the front stretch. He's coming off here and boop, like on the grid. And
I think back over there, because there's different timing lines here at COTA. I believe the start finish line is the closest when you're coming out of turn 20. I believe that is the case. As it did see the checker flag there.
The start finish line is actually right here. This section right here, that's the start finish line. And he disconnected back here on the grid.
He's still credited with 4th place.
So he probably came back and was scored that way. But yeah, there's, like you said, there's the 3 lines. You have the line number 1, 2, and then the start finish line here. But yep, we'll go over the stuff, try to get some people talking to us. Wow, 116 incident points for Balancino, but he wasn't to be bested by Ryan Swan, had 119 incident points.
Now that's something that one car always good at doing. Let's go ahead and bring up our race winner now, Jake Nichols. He's led the most laps. He's picked up his 5th win on the season in 10 races. Jake, Hunter and Harold in the booth, got a copy?
Yes, I do.
All right, so it seemed like that this was going to be a track position race, kind of like what we saw with the Cup Series yesterday at Sonoma. So it seemed like those that pitted before the caution came out were going to be in a good position to pick up a good finish. And you were one of those cars, and you were the first car leading the field back to the green flag for the only restart of the race. And you make it look so easy out there. Put down the fastest lap, coming across the stripe again, the white flag. What was the car like? Because this is such an interesting track. You have all these characteristics of going uphill through the S's, downhill, down the long back straightaway. What was the car feeling like overall throughout the last stint?
It felt pretty good. It was hard. I typically in leagues, I don't know. There's some leagues I've been in that it's been a cakewalk at road courses. Some haven't. Tonight was one of those that it was not. I had to push the entire time. There's no really letting up. I could find a good pace there. Like I think I was running 2-minute 11.2s forever, just over and over and over. So I just found my pace that I wanted to be at, and The car drove perfect. I mean, it was hard to really do anything early in that first run. I was trying to just see what I could do around lap 8, for example, before we pitted, just to see if there was going to be a little bit of wear. Not a lot of tire wear though overall. We were just running hot laps the entire time, especially as the race cooled up or cooled down the track. Um, Man, that car drove pretty good. I'm surprised a few of those guys didn't pit before the caution. I feel like everyone was going to do that, knowing we'd probably be a lap or so to the good on in terms of fuel, but they didn't, and it opened the window for us to take advantage.
Yeah, I was saying that we were having a discussion on the system. I put my crew chief hat on and went and looked at my stuff, all of my insights, and I saw about 22 laps on fuel. And I was being told by the guys that were in the chat that, oh no, they can't make it. But I said the same thing off before we started talking, that I would see people coming down just before the pits got closed on 8, and you and Alan Ballacino timed it perfectly.
Yeah, it was. I think it was around 21, 22. I think you're right on the dot with that, and you got to factor in like 3 caution laps, I think. So you just had to take care of it. I was really taking care of it once we pitted, just to get to the yellow. I didn't know when pit road was going to open, so I kind of stayed in the 30-some second mark of the leader, just in case it opened when we didn't all get to the pace car yet. Knowing that I would still pass them by the time they got out of pits, but yeah, it still worked out. They had to wait for the pace car to come out, so everything worked perfect in that regard.
All right, so where on the track did you get your incident points?
Everywhere. Knowing that we could kind of, use it up, there's certain areas you don't want to push it too far, like that second to last left-hander. If you go past that green by a couple feet, it'll give you a yield. So you kind of want to just get to that green spot and don't go past it too much, because obviously that'll hurt you. It won't hurt you as bad as it used to, but it'll definitely hold you back some. So, but yeah, I saw more people using it up more than I did after the restart. So I was just like, man, if they're doing it, I might as well too. Got to take advantage of it. So just kept using it up, and man, we got a lot. That's for sure.
Out of 26 drivers, the total incident points for tonight's race at 31 laps was 1,578.
I'm not surprised.
I've never seen numbers that high.
Hey man, when you have no limits, you just got to send it.
Well, that's when iRacing does a 24-hour series, and they start throwing those stop and go penalties at like every 20, so people are like really careful about that stuff. So.
Indeed, and with 4 to go, it was at 1,200, and I said, "Oh, there's a chance that we could crack the 1,500 mark," and we did just that. So, the winner of all this being you, Jake Nichols, 5 wins and 10 races in the Cup Series. Any shout-outs you would like to give out before we go?
Yeah, Solar Flare Racing, Dwayne getting a good finish there, and TK 12th and 15th. We knew we weren't going to really have a great points night as a team, just because they're not really road guys, so they're just doing all they could to keep up, and I think they did pretty solid. Stayed on the track, and that's the most important thing. You got to finish first to finish it all, so they did what they were supposed to. Thankfully, I did what I needed to do to help out as much as I could in getting the win there, so thanks to them for the help. Thanks to everyone at Area and Elite Entertainment for putting the series on and this league on. It was fun. It was hard at first. I got a little bit of COVID here, so I wasn't too confident going into tonight. My focus is in and out, but I think once we got started and got into green, that all went away. I was just focus on the cars around me and hitting my marks. It was a struggle for the first 10, but the last 20 were a dream, and you can't ask anything for more than that. Thanks to you guys again for broadcasting. I can't wait to go back and watch this show and watch us do left and rights all over the track, off the track as well, as we pointed out. So it'll be fun. Thanks you guys.
Quick and speedy recovery from COVID, and once again, congrats on the win, Jake. Have a good night.
Thank you.
And that was our race winner, Jake Nichols, and now we'll bring him back up into the booth. Man, dust it off your seat because you're here quite often now. David Weishart, second place finisher. Hunter and Harold in the booth got a copy.
Yep.
I was going to say, we got to take Cameron Hearn's seat and just put a tape over it and write David now.
Yeah, it's been a good couple weeks for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Won at Rockingham, won last week's Cup race at Charlotte, and as a guest on the Area Happy Hour podcast. Then you come here and run second place in COTA. How did the car handle? Because it seemed like it was a handful or so to drive around this 3.42 mile long road course.
It was interesting. There wasn't any tire fall off, which was crazy. If I'd have paid attention to that, I wouldn't have taken tires on my pit stop when I came down, and I think I would have beat Jake off of pit road before the caution. But as soon as the jack dropped, I hit the gas, and the tires were just spinning all the way out of pit road. So I think that's what won Jake the race. Credit to him. These cars are tricky to get stopped in the box, so I always kind of play it conservative there. But I mean, other than that, that caution really it always throws a wrinkle here. On these road courses, you really got to pick and choose. Do you want to pit before it or after? And they're just, like I said, there wasn't any tire fall off for it to be an advantage to stay out. And it kind of bit my teammate James. He had a fast car. I know he's really frustrated about how this race played out. But yeah, it's another top three for me. We got good team points nonetheless, and we'll take that and run with it.
Absolutely. And we went back and looked at it because it seemed like Jake Nichols was only in pit lane for about 2 seconds. We had a little glitch with our ATVO, so we went back and looked at it and saw it was so close. The difference
he took tires too. He took 4 tires.
He did take tires, but it was close, that battle off pit road. So he barely squeaked out and got that lead, and it ultimately ended up being the race-winning move. And I said it kind of looked like it was going to be like I keep saying last week, yesterday's race at Sonoma, where it's just track position. If you pitted before the competition caution, you were going to be in a good spot at the end, and you did just that. Got home a second place finish. Solid job there. Harold, any questions for David?
Yeah, David, I mean, you seem like you had the right tempo that you needed. We saw a lot of guys, like my experience here is the Delara 18, and the S is pretty much a no passing zone. We saw some guys actually doing. I think Scioli and Nicholas Johnson got into each other, dooring each other through the S's.
Yeah, it was there was some moments there where you had to beat and bang a little bit. I didn't know in practice that going wide off of some of these corners gained you that much time. You know, the incident count looks weird tonight because you step, you know, you could put your left side, your right side, whichever one. It could be over the line a couple inches, and it'll ding you. So that was pretty interesting. And through the S's, yeah, you just had to hit the curbs right, and you could not go through there side by side. So it doesn't surprise me that there was some beating and banging back there.
All right, well, bringing home a solid second place for DWR. Any shout-outs you would like to give out before you go?
Yeah, I just thank Elite Entertainment and Jacob for putting us all on here in the Cup Series, and Butt Kicker, Chris Sports Cards for sponsoring us here at DWR, and everybody that raced with us. James had a really good night tonight. I know he's frustrated, like I said. He thought he had a winning car and came on fourth. It's unfortunate he had the wrong strategy, and then Garrett and Chris back there, you know, doing the best they can. Neither one of them is a fan of road courses, so appreciate them guys for sticking with us and collecting some points for us. And thank y'all for broadcasting and everybody watching, and all the admins. Got to thank the admins too. There was some attrition on the radio tonight, so they handled it pretty well.
Oh yeah, we had over 1,500 incident points here at COTA, so I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise me one bit.
All righty, David. Congrats on the second place finish. Have a good night.
All right, thanks, guys. You too.
That was second place, David Weiser. Now we'll bring up third place, Alan Balancino, coming off third straight race with a solid finish for that Eat Sleep race, number 70 machine for Fazekas Motorsports. Hunter and Harold in the booth. Got a copy?
Hey, how you doing?
Doing good. We said that, or I said that it seemed like it was going to be like yesterday's Cup race at Sonoma, all track position. And if you pit before the competition caution, you'd set yourself up for a pretty good run to the finish. And you did just that. So did Weishart and Jake Nichols. But talk to us what this 70 car was like on the road course.
Honestly, it was just pushing it all the way to the end. It was 30 laps of straight, just going for it. To be honest, it's pretty competitive up front in this field, so it's pretty fun. I had a great time out here.
Alrighty, Harold. Any questions for Alan and his third place finish?
Alan, you guys seem to have the strategy out there tonight. Stayed in the top 3, podium finish, and now we can get back to ovals again.
Yeah, we're going to Nashville, right?
Yep. So short track coming up.
That could be hit or miss for me.
Yeah, we go to Nashville and then we go to Talladega, which is like a toss-up race for everyone. But we mentioned you were very close on points coming into tonight's race, and I think with that third place finish, going to help you out a lot trying to secure your spot into the playoffs. So congrats on the third place finish. Good run for Vizicas Motorsports. See Dom over there in 8th. Another solid week for you guys. Any shout-outs you would like to give out before you go?
Yeah, I'd like to give Dom a shout-out for the strategy call. I'd like to give Vizicas Motorsports a shout, obviously. Magyar Bank, Eat Sleep Race, NIA, DeLeo Bram, and Martin Sports, and Tranquility Esports. Tranquility.
Alrighty, congrats on the third place finish. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Those are our top 3 there. Jake Nichols, David Weishart, and Alan Balancino. That's the order you'll see on the results here. First we'll do our race recap. Jake Nichols led the most laps at 18. Won the race, had that one caution for the stage break, if you will, kind of in the middle. Then Jake Nichols on the white flag lap, 2:11.642, fastest lap of the race. In a field full of 26 cars, had a few retirees, but here are your finishing results from the COTA 150K. Jake Nichols, David Weishart, Alan Balancino. Just talked to those guys a couple moments ago. And then 4th, 5th, and 6th, they had a good battle in that second half. James Scioli coming home 4th, Nick Johnston in the top 5, Connor Okrezik P6, then Cameron Hearn P7, Rafe Slate 8th, Dominic DeLeo 9th, and rounding out the top 10 is Justin Wilson in the 58.
11th to 20th, Hartz, Culberson, Brad Slaughter, Garrett Grant, and Tyler Nichols. 16th was James Shanewolf. 17th, Ryan Swan. Chris Steinfaden was in the 18th spot. Jacob Bell, 19th, and 20th was Jordan Martin.
Rounding out the rest of the field, Brian Dixon, Adam Capps, the last 2 drivers on the lead lap. And Capps almost went a lap down, but was able to stay in front of Jake there at the very end. And then 23rd through 26th are the only drivers that did not finish the race. Jay Perkins, Mark Patterson, Ed Robertson, and Garrett Heath, rounding out the 26-car finishing order. Well, Harold, any final thoughts before we wrap it up here from Austin?
Well, an interesting racetrack. We'll be back here tomorrow night with the Truck Series. Me and Cushy on the call. And Hunter, you and I will be back together on a Thursday night for the Xfinity Series. Then we'll have a reset to short track oval racing next week starting on Monday.
We're getting closer and closer in that crunch time where it's basically do or die for those that are wanting to be a part of the playoffs. And we have 2 races now for Cup. We have 3 for trucks and the Xfinity cars. So next Cup broadcast will be at Nashville, and then week after that will be the playoff finale or the regular season finale before the playoffs at Talladega. And as you mentioned, we'll be live once more on the Area iRacing Twitch channel this week. Tomorrow night, the CNC Logging Truck Series will take on COTA. And Thursday night, the Lodge Box Series will also take on COTA. And that's going to do from up here in the booth. Everyone that makes this possible. Harold Darner, executive producer. I'm Hunter Sleppy saying so long. We'll see you later.
What an exciting race brought to you by Wendigo Studios. Here they come out of turn 4 to the white flag, and it's 1 to go. Thank you to all our sponsors, drivers, and viewers. We'll see you at the next turn.